And happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kay, and it's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractors Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. It should be a pretty quiet day today. We're not expecting any severe weather anywhere across the United States. But we still have the remnants of Ian giving us some heavier rainfall in the Northeast. So we'll talk about that briefly, and then we will jump right into the tropics to see if there are any other systems to watch. But before we get into our forecast, we do have an event coming up on October 15th. So not to this Saturday, but the following Saturday. We will have our OU tailgate versus Kansas. This is an early one. The tailgate will begin at 8 a.m. and the kickoff will be at 11 a.m. So come on down. We'll have free food and free beer. We'll have the game playing on some TVs as well. These are always a fun time. So come on down to OU and have fun with us. So here are yesterday's storm reports. We really didn't have a whole lot of anything except for some severe wind gusts here in the Phoenix area, as well as in the Flagstaff region as well. Other than that, it was a pretty quiet day in terms of severe weather. So here are current conditions across the lower 48. We still, again, have the remnants of Hurricane Ian giving us some rain here in the northeast, as well as a stalled out front in the middle of the country. No severe weather is anticipated with that, just some showers, maybe a rumble, thunder or two with that. But we're going to zoom right on into the low pressure system that used to be Ian, giving us plenty of rain from Pennsylvania up into southern New York, all the way into Massachusetts, down south to Maryland. So it's all wrapping around that low pressure system and moving off to the west here. And then again, there is a stalled out front in the middle of the U.S. So we have some showers going on here from South Dakota down to Nebraska, down to central Kansas, southwest into New Mexico. But other than that, it's a pretty quiet day out there, as well as very comfortable temperatures across the U.S. or anywhere from the lower 50s here in New York City. It's only 52, 66 in Fort Wayne. Very pleasant of a 72 in Minneapolis. You can see where that front is. You get east of that front, it starts to warm up a bit with a 78-degree temperature in Kansas City and getting up to 81 in Houston and 85 down in Miami. And then with our dew points, again, it's very comfortable out there with dew points anywhere from the upper 30s into just the lower 50s. If you really want that humidity, you have to go down to the Gulf Coast states, where Miami, you have a dew point of 65. So just taking a look at the remnants of Ian to see what this low pressure is doing. Again, we have plenty of rain going on in the northeast, and that's going to continue as we go through the afternoon and evening. More bands of some shower and storm activity will continue to develop around the central low pressure and move off to the northwest. And again, that will continue as we go through the evening and into the overnight hours. So we could see some heavier rainfall totals in some areas, including in New York City. And this will continue as we get into tomorrow morning as well. So here are the rainfall, the forecast totals for some cities in the area. Not too bad today for the most part. Really, New York City is going to get dumped on as we get into today and into tomorrow. By tomorrow at 5 p.m., you can see in New York City, you're expected to get about 3 inches of rain, some heavier totals as well into southeastern New York, into Connecticut, parts of Massachusetts. But we should start to dry out a bit as we get into our Thursday. So today, like I mentioned at the beginning, we are not expecting anything in terms of severe weather today. So no hail or wind, at least in the severe variety, is expected. And then getting into tomorrow, the pattern of quietness continues. We're not expecting any severe weather tomorrow either. But let's take a look at our jet stream to see what is going on there. So here is that trough associated with the remnants of Ian, giving us some cooler weather here in the northeast. And then that front in the middle of the country is associated with another short wave, bringing us some more cool weather with that. And then as we get into tomorrow, this trough will start to move off to the east, southeast, and bring us some more cool weather in the Great Lakes region. Ian starts to move off to the northeast finally, and then that second trough will start to dig in more cool air. Will start to move south from Canada, and yeah, you can see those cooler colors here really starting to go further and further south as we get into the beginning of our weekend. So now getting down to the surface, kind of to show you what's going on there. We have really two cold fronts that we're going to be tracking. The first one, again, right now is in the middle of the U.S. That will start to move off to the east as we get into Wednesday and into Thursday. It's not going to be a very strong front, but the second one, as we get into Thursday, will start to come southeast from Canada, and this will be a bit stronger and give us some cooler air behind it as we enter the end of our work week into our weekend. I guess the good news, even though it'll be a little bit cooler, is that it will be quiet, if you like quieter weather here, with high pressure taking control in most of the U.S. as we get into Friday and into Saturday. So like I just said, it's going to get a bit cooler, and it's going to most likely be cooler than average here in the northeast as well as in the middle of the country. But then you go into the west, it looks like it's going to be warmer than average most likely through the 12th of October. And then the precipitation, unfortunately, it's going to be pretty dry for most of us. The only area that could see some higher than average precipitation will be here in the southwestern part of the U.S. So I know a lot of areas need that rain, but unfortunately, besides some of the northeast and in the southwest, it's going to be relatively dry. So let's take a look at some of our cities here for the next few days. This is for Oklahoma City. It's going to be nice and dry. It's going to be a bit warm as we get through today and into tomorrow, but then Thursday and then getting into our weekend, you can see those temperatures start to drop off as we are expecting those two fronts to be coming on through, but it will remain dry. And then for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, basically the same story. It's going to be a little bit warm as we get into the next few days, but then getting into our weekend, you can see those temperatures start to drop off a bit with no precipitation expected there. And then lastly, in Denver, a bit cooler out there as, they're in the mountains, which makes sense. Temperatures will be lingering around 70 to lower 70s as we get into the next 3 days. But then getting into Friday, temperatures are expected to drop a bit to the lower 60s. And then we'll rebound a bit as we get into our Saturday. So let's get into our tropics. We still have those two same systems that we are watching. The first one is here in the Eastern Caribbean. It does have a 20% chance to develop within the next 2 days, and then a 40% chance within the next 5 days. So not the best of chances, and you can see where it's heading. It may head towards the Yucatan and not to the U.S., but we'll still keep an eye on that one for you guys. And then the second one, we do have an 80% chance within the next 2 as well as in the next 5 days that this will develop into a system. So this has a pretty good chance to develop into something. And then this western one has an iffy chance, and this is why. This is our upper level wind shear And basically, tropical storms and shear don't get along very well. Shear basically rips those storms apart and prevents those storms from being organized. And here in the Caribbean, you can see there's a lot of shear going on within the next few days. So that will really kind of prevent that system from developing, at least, within the next 4 or 5 days. So we'll keep an eye on that. But then you can see the one that we're watching off the western coast of Africa, that shear is a lot lower. So that's why those chances for that system are a lot higher to develop into something. So if any of those systems do become named in the coming days, the next name on the list is Joya, and then Carl, and then here are the other names here through the alphabet. And as I've been showing you guys, it is October. You may be thinking, oh, the season's coming to an end soon, right? Well, on average, we still have a pretty decent chance to see named storms through basically the month of October. So we're not through yet. And if storms do develop within the next week, and hopefully this doesn't make you guys sick. Sorry, Mom. These are all the systems that have developed from 1950 to present. And you can see a lot of them have developed out in the middle of the Atlantic and move off. But we have had systems, some stronger hurricanes actually, that have developed and made their way to the U.S. So again, the season's not over yet. We have to watch all of the systems that may potentially develop into something. So that's all I have for you guys for today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our TikTok page, where we've been trying to create some fun content for you guys. If you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday.